whispers in the deep dark night. Shadows dance.
Welcome to the AI Riff, where we cut through the noise and break down the top AI stories of the week with real talk and real relevance. No hype, no fluff, just a vendor-agnostic take on what's actually shaping your world today. Whether you're in tech, lending, or just trying to make sense of the headlines, we're here to separate the wheat from the chaff and the facts from the fiction. Now let's get this started with your hosts, Mario Diabenedetto, Rob Katz, and me, Kyle Myers. We hope you enjoy this episode of the AI Riff.
And we're back with episode 44.
44? Oh, yeah, I misnumbered the last one. I'm sorry. Sorry, Mario.
Yeah. For those that have been confused by our episode number, listen, 44, it's a big number.
It is a big number.
Are we going to have a party on 52 when it's actually been a year?
Wow, that's a great question.
Actually,
why don't we have a party now?
But we've been trying to do, but with some holidays and some breaks, people going on vacations, the year is coming up. It may not be 52.
No, it's definitely not 52 because we had mid-riffs in the middle of some weeks. We were like, the early days, you know, when we were young.
But I like that, Rob. We got to go back and see when the first episode with Rob is, because that's when we really kicked off. Mario and I were just goofing around, I guess. And then
I brought legitimacy to this whole
legitimacy to the whole
what
group.
a low bar. The low bar that we set.
Very low bar.
Speaking of low bars, what are we talking about today, Mario?
So I'm gonna drop some words that are not normal vocabulary here right out of the gate. We're gonna be talking about mythos. We're going to be talking about glasswing, and that's all going to be under the umbrella of Anthropic, which we all do know. And so the base news that we're going to talk about, a very rarely used word, capybara.
That is rarely used.
So
fact, use it in a sentence.
I went to Australia and saw a capybara.
Happiest animal on the planet.
There we go.
So, and I'll try to not be long-winded like I usually am. So, Anthropic has a whole new generation of their model. Their Opus model is whatever generation it is. 4.6 is their latest Opus model. They have like all of the large frontier model vendors, they've been working on a brand new model, trained on a massively larger data set. Their model is called Capybara. Capybara has produced a product of sorts that is a subset of that model that they have called Mythos. And it's a question whether it's all marketing or all we're in trouble with AI. But basically the news that they initially released about Mythos was that it was able to go in and find holes, cybersecurity holes in software with an astonishing amount of skill. It found stuff that was a 26-year-old Linux thing, and they put all this stuff out there, and then they basically said, we're so scared of this model. They didn't say it that way. We're so scared of this model that we're not even going to release to the public. We're going to have this consortium called Glasswing, which is a subset of about 8 companies who they're going to get the first look at it. And we're going to just let them play with it before it goes too far. There hasn't been a ton of news, but there has been a little bit of news since then. But the big question is like, are we really going to see a big leap in models? Because, by the way, there's a whole bunch of other models, that other people are releasing that we'll talk about at a different time. But is Mythos / Capybara / Glasswing something new? Or is it just these guys are going to IPO later this year and they need to have something that looks flashy?
I hope so. I mean, sorry.
Speaking as an investor.
So I think the ramifications of AI being able to quickly identify vulnerabilities in software is pretty monumental. And what it's not doing, my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, guys, it's not unhashing SSL certificates.
No.
It's not brute forcing and breaking in. It is doing everything it can to find ways to inject or find, make some way to penetrate a software, to find a vulnerability, to do something. And the level of degree of risk through that vulnerability is going to vary based on what the thing finds. So none of us should be surprised that AI is getting really good at finding vulnerabilities. I think, the concern that leaps to my head through this is some bad actor in China or Iran or someplace going, ooh, we should put some energy into figuring out how to use these tools to find vulnerabilities in key systems that our enemies are dependent on, and see if we can't break into them and do bad stuff. So that's going to be on the rise for sure. I think the fact that this model has the reasoning capability to keep linking and digging in deeper and deeper and deeper to try to find the vulnerability kind of feels inevitable to me. And, I applaud Anthropic again. I totally support their decision to walk away from the Department of Defense when they wanted to strip out the rules that were in place. And here's another one where they're like, we don't want to release this thing because we think it's dangerous. And yeah, it's a market hype. Maybe, but if it's not, or there's some element of truth to it, and they're doing Glasswing and letting these companies that have these really important software systems that we all depend on have a chance to use that platform to identify and patch the vulnerabilities before it's in everybody's hands, tip of the hat to Anthropic, right? Right way to go. We sit there and just go, is AI going to destroy the world? Is it going to become Skynet and all that other stuff? This is twice now where I think Anthropic has made the right social move around AI to try to keep us from slipping down the slope. Having said that, to your guys' point, there's a lot of different models out there. They're all accelerating. Some are coming from countries like China who don't have the same social concerns. And so, yeah, we're at risk. And we all do our banking online, right? And all that becomes at risk. If the vulnerability happens to be with your, Schwab account, well, geez Louise, I thought my money was safe there, all that kind of stuff. So I'm worried. It stresses me out. Kind of inevitable though, in my mind. So
yeah,
response.
And that those are all good points, Rob. I think I took it to a different level where the fact that it could leverage other agents before doing pen test, like if you tried to do a single pen test on using one AI model and one approach, you may or may not get through. But if you're using things like, OpenClaw, you can then incorporate many different agents that know how to different things, or exploit not just a single flaw, but maybe that flaw is not exploitable until you've opened up the other keys that you have to turn, and it is now going and saying, well, that flaw is secure, that's secure, that's secure. But wait, if I do it in this order, I can do it. So this is orders of magnitude way smarter. Oh, I got a duplicate there. That was weird. So that's one point. The other point is when they have this Mythos getting tested with glassware, right? Glassware. Glasswing. What kind of companies are they? Like, are these companies that people would want to exploit?
Like, well, no, it's more networking infrastructure companies.
So right? Why wouldn't you have and I heard this from another podcast, that they don't have why don't you have an airline in there doing some testing? Why aren't they? Because that's if someone could hack the data, hack into the system of United Airlines, that could be quite a detrimental issue, considering a lot of our planes now fly by wire. And yeah, there's redundancies. They got a pilot in the cockpit, but you also have, what about energy companies? Are there energy companies where they could attack the grid? Like, are they going what makes me believe that this is a hype, and they're hyping it to bring attention to it, is in the list of the companies that they've instructed to try to find and use it and see how it's working, they don't seem like they have mission criticality adjacent companies, but nothing that's a critical company. That if they attacked it, we would be in serious trouble. Like our country would be, yes, of course the company would go down, but our country, our lifestyle, the world wouldn't have a big issue with it. That's my concern.
There you go.
Just sharing the companies that they listed on their site, right? That's what we're talking about. I mean, AWS powers what percentage of all web traffic today, right?
Yeah, but are
Apple, huge. I mean, these are huge infrastructure companies. So, yeah.
Yeah. But
So
what are they?
we
They have
do
the
have an audio
platform.
only
So
audience.
you're saying the platform is what it gets hacked, which then hacks the actual company or causes the problem with the company. I'm thinking more the vulnerabilities lie within the individual companies, not necessarily just the platform. And because if you can down AWS, yeah, you're a disruptor, right? If you can down Google, you're a disruptor. But if you could actually hack someone who uses AWS and get into their servers and not just take down their servers, but to get in and do something nefarious, that's what I'm talking about. And I just feel like that group of people testing it should have been broader base, shouldn't have been such a small population.
So because we do have people who are audio only, Rob put it up there. AWS, Anthropic, obviously themselves, Apple, Broadcom, Cisco, CrowdStrike, Google, JP Morgan Chase, the only financial company in there, Linux Foundation, Microsoft, NVIDIA, and Palo Alto Networks. Listen, you could always say that it could be broader. I absolutely kind of wonder about the mix, right? One financial services company, is that intention or whatever else? Let me throw a couple things at you guys.
How many of those invest in Anthropic?
Well, I don't know if Google does, and I don't know if Microsoft does.
Interesting that they picked Google.
Google, Microsoft, and Apple. So, they went.
But Microsoft and Apple are not actively hunting them down. They're in the weeds hunting them down, but they're not a direct villain in the whole thing.
There's not a better set of minds than Google. Like Google as an enterprise, has some serious brain power.
More PhDs than any other company I know of, right?
Yeah. So,
I'm not trying to say Google's not smart. I'm just saying they're going to test it to what their benefit is, and the benefit of their clients, the people that use their all their services, their Word and Excel and all the database and everything else that they use. But they're not going to. I just was curious why there wasn't any other companies. Why it's so small? Why wouldn't you have a bigger? They're big companies, but why not expand that out to smaller companies to do the testing?
While I'm talking, why don't you ask Claude to answer that? So
I'm on Claude jail. I can't ask Claude anything right now. I've used my tokens up.
As you should be, Kyle. As you should be.
Yep.
So a couple of things. So they said they found thousands of exploits, thousands, right? Immediately with Mythos.
How old are they?
In some of them are 26 years old. There's a vast majority of those that actually could not be exploited. So there were holes in the code. The example I heard was about the Linux code. There's a 26-year-old hole in the Linux code that is absolutely a hole, but they've got other pieces of Linux code that protect it. So it's like you can't get to the code to exploit it. So I'm going to give you two pieces of good news. That's one. One is, this thing found a lot of stuff, but did it really solve world peace because it saved everybody? Not yet. Not in its current form. And then the other one was there's an organization called the AI Security Institute, and they were able to do some amount of review of a preview version of Mythos. And they said basically the only thing that is really susceptible to it, if it wanted to hack you, were small, weakly defended, and vulnerable networks.
Makes
And
sense.
if you're a small, weakly defended network, you were probably already hacked. Like you didn't need Mythos to get hacked.
Yeah.
And Kyle, by the way, the paragraph above the list of icons that I showed says that they have extended access to a group of over 40 additional organizations. So they're just putting the biggest logos probably on their page to get attention. Who knows what they don't list who the other,
Or maybe the other
are.
logos. Maybe I'm ahead of myself, ahead of my skis, because maybe the other people, or the other companies that are on there, they don't want their name in there saying they're testing this against their stuff, because that could mean that they think they have vulnerabilities. So maybe it's a negative press if you say, yeah, I'm testing this to make sure some people can't hack me because we have known issues. Or you're on mute, Mario. You lost your
There is
mic.
no better way to get interest from corporations in your product than to scare the heck out of them and then say, but I'll let you get a sneak peek at how this is going to help you, right? I mean, it could be a really, not to be cynical, but it could be a really targeted way to continue their expansion into the enterprise accounts.
And didn't they do this a few years back with even with Elon Musk saying we need to take a 6-month pause and we need to stop, this is going too fast and we're going to get in trouble? And
when he was behind. When he was behind, he asked everybody, when his AI was behind, he asked everyone to take a pause.
And exactly, there's always an alternative motive, right?
Of course.
And then also, wouldn't China, like, you don't think they have something like that is already trying, like they would build it just to exploit people's network? Like, not that they're 100% nefarious, but they do have nefarious people in China and in I don't know, Belarus and Russia that do these things that could, I don't know. I just think that we think we're holding back on this. If we think we're so smart that they're, granted, most of the AI is being developed in the U.S. I believe we have the most highest probability of winning that race, even though we have no idea how far China is right now. But I still think it'd be kind of a lot of hubris from us to think that China or others don't have something like this anyway, and they've been trying to exploit it the whole time.
So I'm going to come back to, the folks who are listening to us and watching us, what do they do about this other than have nightmares now, right? So use multi-factor authentication, use pass keys instead of passwords. Don't use the same password on more than one account ever. That's probably the most important thing. Don't fall for phishing scams because they're getting better, right? Always double check the URL you're going to make sure when you get that email that says you need to enter your credit card, you know exactly where it's going to. Like, be smart about that stuff. Have we mentioned this on the last podcast. Have verbal passphrases with your bankers and people you do financial transactions with to verify you are who you are and they are who they are before you move money around. Just be smart, right? It's a lot harder to stay smart in the environment that we're in, and keep your eye on the news of what's going on.
Yep.
Yeah. So I think there's absolutely more to come with Mythos and Glasswing. It will. I think that for me, the takeaway is more the new models, and that there could be something more significant coming. And what does that mean to me, right? Like, let's just take the cybersecurity piece of this equation. One of the things I heard originally about Mythos was, and the new models from Anthropic was, they referred to them as self-healing. And that could mean a lot of things, right? That could mean I realize I'm making an error in my logic and I will go back and fix that. Like, it could be that. It could be that I actually have a defect. I'm going to make sure I correct myself so I never make that defect. Like, it could mean a lot of things. But if you've been building stuff out there and you've got something built on any model today, and we're about to take a massive leap in how accurate they are, what do you do?
I think you still have to forge ahead. You have to
worry about what I just built is useless? Is that the first thing that you worry about?
I don't know.
Because AI is going to do it all?
that is a thought that the moats disappear when AI gets so good at what it does. Many of the moats to software development disappear unless you have intellectual property that cannot be replicated by AI, which is usually getting trust or client database or certain aspects of your business that are not repeatable from AI. Otherwise, the moats will disappear because there's no reason why we couldn't build something that can replicate what any software out there is doing in a matter of weeks, not years. And there are some more complex ones. I mean, look at LOS systems. They're a lot more complex, a lot more regulations, a lot more rules, a lot more scenarios. I mean, it's complex. But remember, I think in the last episode, two or three episodes back, we said the lending industry in 18 months will be severely disrupted by AI. And it's scary. But I think most of the businesses with a moat for LOS have that moat of people don't want to change their software, whether it was built by AI or not. They just don't want to change it there very often. And if it's doing well enough, their fear factor of how many clients am I going to lose if I change, or how many can you tell me I'm going to gain if we switch to you? How much more business can I do? And I don't know if that proposition is out there, even if AI builds the software. So those kind of moats are there because it's just not profitable and I don't know how many banks are going to go with some 2-person outfit that built something in AI to run their LOS.
That's a great segue to the next episode that I think we've queued up.
Yes. You want to leave it there? We'll leave it there.
I'm happy to leave.
Anything in parting words of wisdom?
Tune in to our next episode because we're going to continue this discussion and talk about a company that one guy built a company worth $1.8 billion. We'll tell you the secret behind that, and using AI, of course. And another one is an AI company that is building a new foundational model using AI tools to go faster and better at building the model. So, Mario, to your point of it's learning and teaching itself, that's part of the very close to, I'm not saying they're close to AGI, but the definition of AGI, artificial general intelligence, is this self-healing, self-learning platform. So, it'll be an interesting conversation. Tune in next week.
And you do know, by the way, that Rob Katz is not AI because his one pupil is very small and his other pupil is very large.
I'll be closing my blinds pretty soon here. That's the time of the year when the sun hits my face at this hour. So, yeah.
And on that note, I'm going to let him off the hook. I'm Kyle Myers.
I'm Rob Katz.
And I'm still Mario Di Benedetto.
And this has been the AI Riff.
Wires hum like whispers in the deep dark night. Shadows dancing strange under neon light. Digits spinning fast like a gambler's hand. The clock chimes change, it's the new command. Oh, the future calls with a voice so clear. A melody of progress in every ear. No turning back, the wheels in motion. A tide of cold like the endless ocean. Binary prophets riding fading streams. Data flows like rivers fueling all our dreams. Simple or savvy, it's all the same path. Under skies of innovation, we redraw the map. Oh, the future calls with a voice so clear. Set the rhythm to the beat of change we sing. Every click and hum a key that rings. A revolution, quiet, but it's vast. Building empires where echoes of futures cast.